Vulcan says, in your view, what generates the difference between guys and how many attempts, how long it takes for them to get to 90-plus day streak? Conditional in using the tools you teach. Is it just that if you started with PMO younger or for a longer period of time, / it takes longer for you to break the habit? Yeah, I mean, you hit on the two big things. Are you using the tools, and how long have you been an addict? How severe is the addiction, right? So it's like someone who's like a multiple time a day porn user, like every day. That person's just going to take longer than someone who uses it, once or twice a week, okay? In terms of them successfully, like that's just how long it's going to take the brain to rewire. But like when it comes to adherence of the program, i.e. successfully quitting and not relapsing, that has almost everything to do with how well they work the tools. Yeah, I mean, that's really the heart of it. So it's like, are you using the methodology that I outlined? If you want the full, total, in-depth process, then you get, the Reforged Man course, and you go through the full thing where I give you every single detail about how to do it. If you want the more bare bones approach, then use the Reboot regimen and then sign up for the Vanguard, and then use the Reboot regimen in combination with the Metascript method, and that's amazing. That will work phenomenally well. Just those two guides. That's the free way that I would recommend everybody do it. Do Reboot regimen, Metascript method. And if you want, to add a little bit of extra power, use the Anabolic Optimism guide as well. Adam says, I'm 30 days in and I'm experiencing typical flatline symptoms such as low energy and lack of motivation. How do you manage these symptoms? Ideally, I would be in the process of manufacturing a life I don't want to escape from. However, I'm finding that after I complete my core responsibilities, I'm too drained to be productive in working towards this goal. So yeah, this kind of echoes a lot of the stuff we were talking about already today, that you're not going to be your most productive self when you are in the process of quitting porn. How do you manage these symptoms? You just kind of accept them, and you got to be patient, right? And you got to do what you're able to do. So by setting small, reasonable baselines that move you towards your goals, that's going to help you. And so if you're using, you're in the elite tier, so maybe you got the last Apex report about the stack method, then you do that, right? So it's like your hard line and your main line will be around quitting porn and maybe some core productivity. And then you can put any extra stuff in your soft line. And it's just making sure that whatever you're doing is very, very reasonable, and you're not really setting yourself back by trying to do too much. And just, if you just quit porn and do nothing else, that's a major upgrade in your life. That's a major win. Right? And so focus on getting those big wins, and you'll be able to get everything. Just you won't be able to get it all at once. So yeah, and for those of you guys who are wondering what the heck the stack method is, that's something that I'll be releasing a video on here relatively soon. Rai says, I'm nearing 130 days of hard mode reboot, and I have a good handle on staying PMO free, so I'd like to focus on my journaling on ingraining other beliefs. How would you recommend phasing out PMO journaling without opening myself up to a relapse? How would I recommend that? Just start doing it like maybe once a week. You do a little check-in with yourself about how you've been with that kind of stuff. And then other than that, you only journal about it if you have an issue. Like if you're, triggered or something, or, if you peaked at something, or you started to slip, or you're, heavily, craving, whatever. It's like you just do it reactively then instead of proactively. And that's it. And as long as you do that and you keep focusing on other stuff and maybe just staying a part of this community and maybe checking back in with yourself every once a week or something like that, you'll be fine. Congrats on the 130 days. So, you're ready to move on to other stuff. Bonds says, this is a good question. What is the worst general advice given on the NoFap subreddits? I've noticed some good things, but a lot of white-knuckling, temporary motivation, or 10 habits encouraged at once on the page, unlike the Vanguard. Are there any outrageous ideas there that never work regarding PMO? I mean, you kind of hit on a lot of it. A lot of it's just white knuckling and just emotional rah-rah sort of stuff. It's it's the idea that if you're in the paradigm of thinking that self-control is a matter of motivation, then yeah, you start thinking like, how can I keep the motivation high? How can I keep myself pumped and ready to go crush it? Problem is you can't do that. And so you will always relapse if that's what you're relying on. And that's what a lot of the NoFap subreddit is about. And so that fundamental thought process, I think, is probably the most damaging and flawed thing. You know, it's not bad to be motivated. That's great. You know, that's awesome. But you got to realize that, like, if you really want to quit, then you got to be able to quit when you don't want to, and when you're low motivation and you're tired and you're exhausted and you're stressed, right? And so the answer then is not to try and make yourself feel like on top of the world and ready to go kill it. It's to be able to just be like, no, I'm not going to make my situation worse, right? And so it can take a bit of doing to do that, but you know, you got to be willing to go on that journey.